our next guest coming up is also really exciting. I really like the artwork behind this project, and they garner inspiration from games like Roblox, Minecraft, No Man's Sky, and of course, I'm referring to Rumble Worlds, who is looking to build an open metaverse on Solana. In this game, players will be able to interact in PvE and PvP games with their character based NFTs. There's a lot going on here, and Rumble Worlds is really building and moving forward. And now is a great time to start getting an idea of what they're making. So today we have Lekhya. Apologies if I butchered that. Head of partnerships at Rumble World, and he's going to join us to go in depth on the game.
Hi, Greg. How are you doing?
How's it going?
Yeah, not too bad. Not too bad. Just recovered from COVID, so apologies if my voice is a bit like husky. Still got a bit of a cough. So yeah, just recovering from that. Yeah.
Definitely not a fun one.
Let me just share my screen.
Awesome. And I just want to jump in here and seeing your guys' artwork when I was going through and really getting a refresh of what you guys were building was super cool to see. So this was one of the ones where, to be quite frank, I spent most of my time just browsing through what you guys were building and really diving a second layer in. So really excited to hear from your end.
Yeah, thanks a lot. So yeah, as you may have noticed, going through our Twitter, going through our Discord, we've spent a lot of time building. We've taken our time. I think that's the one thing that we've done differently to a lot of like other gaming projects that have launched. We've been here since I think it was July last year. So it's been a while. It's been a minute. And usually you'd expect projects to mint their first collection, etc. But we really wanted to take our time, really make things perfect before we really go out there. We didn't want to put anything out there that's haphazardly done. We just wanted to take our time and do the best that we could. So Rumble Worlds. Rumble Worlds is an open metaverse on Solana. It was an iteration of a game that we started last year in March that was initially a single collection focused PvP battle, standard battle game that we were building out for the Solarians project, which was the first on-chain generative project on Solana, as you might know. After a couple of iterations and after a couple of epiphanies on long nights when we were really conceptualizing the project, we finally ended up with the Rumble Worlds that we know now. Let me just dive into the slides so that we can get started. So when we started back in March, the hype behind Axie and all the other big games was at an all-time high. I think at that point, I remember reading a Forbes article about how it was so expensive for players to enter into Axie at that point, and now prices have come down significantly. But at that point, there were key problems that we identified to really kickstart our journey with Rumble Worlds. So the first one being is that most of the collections that we see specifically on Solana are actually 2D based NFT collections. And a lot of these collections have had a real hurdle in front of them in terms of really digitizing their assets and making them 3D models that are able to integrate with multiple metaverse projects. And that's something that we noticed in a lot of projects. And also, I think the biggest thing that we saw was there's actually a lack of interoperability. So in terms of the NFT space, a lot of projects that came out were solely focused on working on their collection. There was no real link that they established with other projects as well. And also in the other crypto-based games that were out there, NFT-based games that were out there, one thing that we noticed is that the core gameplay was governed by the actual game creators, and not many sandbox-style games besides Sandbox, obviously, were out there that really gave players the freedom to really create their economies and the games and the gameplay experience that they could as a community. So we came up with Rumble Worlds. So Rumble Worlds is bringing to life your favorite NFTs and connecting communities through building a gaming-focused metaverse, specifically on Solana. So right now, what we've started doing is what we started doing in July last year was we were helping a lot of NFT projects really become metaverse ready. That's been one of our core focuses, and because we've got a really skilled team, we've been able to help multiple projects really turn their 2D art into metaverse ready 3D models, game ready 3D models. So that's one thing that we've been focusing on. So behind Rumble Worlds, we go as an open metaverse. So the whole idea behind Rumble Worlds is basically to give this layer of sustainable utility to all NFT projects that are out there in the form of gaming, and help all these projects integrate with each other and really really get that community feeling out there, so that if you're a Solarian, you can interact with DJDAO or Monkey DAO, or really get that community feeling going out there. And lastly, it's the player-driven gameplay that we've been focused on. So that's one of our long-term roadmap objectives, where we want to really create creator tools and really push out the user-created content out there.
I really love the idea and the onus of composability you guys have of making these NFTs be able to interact with each other, and then even the user generated content. It really hammers in on this idea of Web3 and takes gaming to a next level. So I just wanted to throw that in there.
Yeah. With gameplay, so we're a metaverse, so you can explore, hang out, build, and game within us. We're gaming focused, like I mentioned earlier. So we've got a few different gaming styles, so that we have something that's out there for every different type of gamer that you get. Whether you're a casual gamer, whether you're just out there socialize with your community, etc. We've got what we've literally tried to build what we can to accommodate every style of gamer. So we will have multiplayer experiences, so where we will have PvP, PvE, and co-op style gameplay. We will have solo experience as well, so quest style games, PvE where you're fighting against the environment, and we'll have a story based game as well. We will have social interactions available, so you'll have social activities and events that you can host within the game. And we initially, when we launch, our core focus is to really create a game style out there that can be associated and related to pretty much all types of gamers. So I think we actually decided to go with the party games genre. So we'll be starting with your Overcooked, Super Smash Bros. Style gameplay, where you can really integrate multiple different collections with different types of rigging and with different type of body structures, etc., into these gaming experiences. So as a crypto-based game, NFT-based game, we're obviously a play-to-earn game. So we've come up with a sustainable mechanic for our token, utility token, which is called RUM. That's RUM shortened for Rumble Coin, which will be dispersing as rewards. So this RUM token will be able to be used in-game for trading, to buy, sell NFTs, lands, and in-game assets as well.
Awesome.
So right now, we've been on an onboarding spree. We actually have over 80 projects that have partnered up with us. It was actually more than 100, but we had to cut down on around 20 rugs in the past week or so that we realized were really rugged, that had rugged. I think it was really after the market dumped. I think we realized that a few of the partners that had come earlier on last year had rugged, so we just had to let go of them. So yeah, 80 plus right now. Out of the 80, 23 projects are actually ready with game-ready assets that are integratable with metaverses, which is a fair few. And every day, we've been onboarding projects, and we're still working. So right now, I think we're working on another 10 different projects and their metaverse assets as well. So hopefully, in the next month or so, we'll be able to showcase exactly what we've been doing in terms of that. So we have some notable partners as well, the Solarians, of course. We haven't announced, but we've partnered up with Rogue Sharks, D-Gods. We announced Piggy Sol Gang, Solami, and Bone World have been there from the beginning. So yeah, these are a couple of notable guys that we partnered up with so far. So yes, coming to the interesting part. This is the Rumbler. It is our native avatar for Rumble Worlds. So the Rumbler was pretty much, it was conceptualized last year to be a bit of a low-cost method to enter the metaverse when projects were at like an all-time high, when you saw flows of like 35, 40 sol per project, and then sol was like pumping. So we stuck with the idea. We're still going ahead with the mint. So hopefully by I think first week of March, we're looking at minting. So right now the Rumbler is basically the governance token for Rumble Worlds. We have a set of key benefits that are outlined in the presentation about what the Rumbler will do. Mainly, I think the coolest thing about the Rumbler is actually that it grows. So you'll be minting an incubator ball, and over the course of your gaming experience and with the XP points that you earn, your Rumbler will turn out from like a cute baby Rumbler to your adult Rumbler. So that's a cool experience that we're building as well. And then we're moving on to the worlds, which is another part of a big part of Rumble Worlds. So as the name indicates, we are a metaverse, and we've also built accordingly with the whole galaxy ecosystem style of storyline. So right now we've created 2 worlds, which we will be going ahead with a land sale eventually. I think we've outlined it for Q2 of this year. So the worlds will have land plots that are individual and that will be able to be minted. And within these land plots, users will be able to build and really monetize their lands by using our creator tools and creating gaming experiences, social experiences, hosting events, etc. And really just owning their narrative within the metaverse. So this is a brief outlook on our roadmap. We've obviously taken a lot of time, and I don't think we're going to really quicken things, because we really want to take our time and build something that's going to look good, feel good, and actually make sense to the communities that we are partnered up with as well. So Q1, we are going to do the Rumblers launch. That's our biggest key event there. We've also focused on building as many NFTs as possible. I think over the next month or so, we'll see some cool, very notable projects that are coming on board with their own 3D models as well. And also we'll be dropping our teaser trailer, which will give you a glimpse of our story behind Rumble Worlds and also the gameplay experience that you'll get. Q2 will focus on the land sale, as mentioned later. And also we will be opening up to VCs and DAOs for the RUM private sale, where we're looking at further investment into our RUM token to fuel development and really get things going on as well. Q3, we'll have our IDO for our RUM token. We'll launch RUM staking right after. We'll release the beta open world section of the game as well, where you'll pretty much be able to integrate all your NFTs and be able to interact with each other. And we'll also host in-game social events as well, just to get the hype going, just to get the communities involved, etc. And Q4 is one of my favorite things. And as I think it was Dan who came on first. He mentioned about how it's so important to bring in non-native crypto users into the space to really get the gaming scene going on, and we think that's super important as well. And that's why we're also working on our own take on really helping out non-native crypto users get started on specifically Solana. And one thing that we'll definitely be working on is the Sol faucet. So this is pretty much a faucet that will be within our Rumble Worlds ecosystem that will really help people get started and get a jump on setting up their Sol accounts, their Phantom wallets, and really get an induction to the ecosystem basically. And then we'll be releasing our playable games. So every 3 months, we've planned a staggered release of a different game mode. So we're going to be on tight timelines, but our team's solid, and we're sure we're going to touch those deadlines as well. And we will be launching our in-game marketplace where you'll be able to use Rumb and Sol as well to really purchase NFTs, in-game collectibles, in-game cosmetics, and other Rumblers and Rumbler stuff, basically. And in the long run, we're focused on creator tools. We'll be getting the full release out as well because it will be in beta until then. We'll be using a portion of the funds that we raised to create a grant system where we'll be awarding grants to people, to communities, DAOs that really want to build and enrich the Rumble Worlds ecosystem. And we'll be introducing new game modes, as I mentioned, every 3 months. We'll be focused on releasing new worlds when the demand for it arises. So we will release them with like a fixed supply. But when the demand for more worlds and more land is present, we'll definitely put out more worlds and really get people into the gaming experience of Rumble Worlds. And eventually, we're looking at introducing breeding so that you can get your Gen 2 Rumbler. We're working through the mechanics of that, and before the Rumbler mint, we will definitely release that information. So finally, a bit about the team. I think this is one of the most interesting slides, and I think a lot of people really want to find out what's going on with the team. So the team is actually composed of 3 partners. Motion Miracles is our gaming development partner. They're a gaming studio that's been focused on the mobile gaming space for the past, I think it's been 6 years or so. So they're based in Sri Lanka and Singapore and also San Francisco. They've got offices right around, and we've contracted them, and they're actually a part of the ownership of the project as well. So they're working on the game development side. So Anish is he's a co-founder of Rumble Worlds, and he's the founder of Motion Miracles as well. And myself, I'm Lekhya. I'm one of the co-founders of Black River Labs. We generally look into the operations, the day-to-day operations of Rumble Worlds. So I'm a real estate developer, so I'm actually building IRL and I'm building the metaverse as well. So that, that's what's going on there. And we have Solarians in as well. They're also a part of the team. So Omi is he's the head of the Solarians team, and he is the COO of Digitalize. So he's currently heading the Solarians, and he's also running operations for Digitalize as well. And they've got a great background with strategies behind NFTs and sales, etc. So he's brought a wealth of knowledge coming in.
Awesome.
That is pretty much.
Yeah, and just on that slide, I think it's really exciting, especially bringing in game studios to build Web3 gaming. What was the consideration of choosing Motion Miracles as your guys' game studio?
Right. So me and Anish have known each other for a while. We actually went to school together a long time ago. But I mean, the reason why we chose Anish is as evident with the art style, with the quality of the assets that we've been putting out, and even in the ones that I'm really excited, but I can't talk about, that's going to be released in the next month or so. He's really we take the time, but the quality of the stuff that we put out is definitely a step ahead of what we've seen in the space so far. So that's one of the reasons why we decided to go with Motion Miracles and really hand over the game development side to them, because we feel like we're in good hands with them.
Yeah, that's great. And I'm also just really curious, what are some of the things that get you most excited about building at Rumble Worlds? What is really your motivation to keep moving forward? What are you really looking forward to?
With Rumble Worlds, the reason why the story behind it is actually back in March when Solarians minted. I was one of the OG mentors, so I minted on the whitelist, I think on day 2. So I was pretty much in touch with the team from back then. And, that was my first NFT mint. And I wasn't really active on Ethereum before that, but after that I was. And at that point, it got me thinking, because I'm an avid gamer. I've spent a lot of time on gaming. I work a hell of a lot of time, but when I'm not working, I'm gaming. So I think one thing that I realized is like, the association of like crypto, NFTs, and gaming is like literally the best use case scenario for all, like for crypto and NFTs is gaming. There's no like there's nothing that can say otherwise, because it is like, and like this is crazy, but like when I mentored this, the first thing that like really came into my mind was like, imagine you had this like fully monetized economy in GTA 5, and like you're doing a heist, but you're actually like stealing, like $5 million of like real cash as a gameplay action. So I think at that point it was like a spark, and I was like, yeah, you know what, shit, like, we got to partner up, we got to figure something out, and like really, build a game, and really like, explore the technology behind this, and really like there's a hell of a lot of metaverse projects that are out there, and 5 years from now, 90% of them are not going to be there, but
Yeah.
and like, we're trying to be that 10% that's going to be there, and regardless of whether you make it or not, like right now, I think being a pioneer in the space, being early as a developer, and really getting the chance to really set the standard that's coming in, that's coming in for like, the future NFT devs, the future like crypto based gaming developers. Like I think that's what really excites me. And like I think I was on a call with like Metaplex a couple of weeks back, and like they're so focused on like building the standard of NFTs, right? That for Solana based NFTs. And I think one thing that's really needed right now is to really like improve the standard of game, like for gaming projects. So like one of the issues that are out there is like you can't have a FBX file as your NFT. Like you can't upload an FBX file to like be associated with your NFT. So like it's really like working with pioneering organizations like that, and like setting the standard that really like I think gets all of us in our team like going very early, like we're really early. So
Yeah.
it's just a matter of like making use of the time, and like trying to do something useful for the communities that come after us at least. So yeah.
I think there's multiple layers here. The fact that you guys are bringing in all of this talent, really understanding and thinking about how to develop in the metaverse, but then what you just touched on and what you were talking about earlier, how composable you guys are, and the fact that you're looking to set a standard and really build out a needed infrastructure for all of this metaverse that's building. And I think that does posture Rumble Worlds to be better set to be one of these gaming projects that can stick around. And I think that's a really big thing we're figuring out here. I was just talking to Matt Sorg from Solana Labs a couple days ago, and we were talking about how much innovation there is here, in echoing what you said, that maybe 90% of the projects might fail, but there are going to be a couple very clear winners that understand the fit of open economies and metaverse in gaming. And it sounds like you guys are really posing yourselves to be composable and set this standard of
Yeah.
what it looks like, and positioning yourself in the middle of the ecosystem.
Yeah.
So I think that is something that's truly unique about Rumble Worlds while you guys are building your own game.
Yeah. And I think just to end off, I think so. Our goal is basically beyond the gaming side to make Rumble Worlds like a core utility for any Solana based projects that come in. So if you're minting next year in March, like it has to be like one of the requirements, like, oh, is Rumble Worlds like integratable sort of thing. So that's something that we're trying to work with, like organizations like Metaplex, organizations like Solana, and really like get the NFT gaming standard sorted out, so that like projects that come in later on are ready, and they're like instantly metaverse integratable. Not like the ones that came before, but getting them involved as well, but like getting the ones that come later prepared as well.
Yeah, I think that's incredibly important. And going to wrap it up here. You guys have a ton of developments coming out. We've been following you closely here at Solana News, and we're definitely not going to stop. So I just really want to thank you for coming on, Lekhya. And it's been great. And we'll have an update here for the rest of the audience soon, I imagine. But thank you so much for joining us, man.
Thank you for having me, man, and thanks everyone for listening as well. Thank you.
Awesome.